Okay, I am excited to talk about the particularization process that our church is on. Finally, we are going to have our own elders, and this really is an amazing time that shows God's faithfulness and our desire to be a faithful church and shepherd our people well. So I want to do this video to make sure that we are all on the same page, because I know that probably for most of us, we have not gone through a stage from church planting to the point where a church is its own church with its own separate leadership. And so that we all get on the same page, I'm going to do this short video. So I want to start with this question: what is particularization? Particularization is the process by which a mission church becomes its own church. So right now, Sojourn is categorized as a mission church. And the reason for that is we do not have our own elders. Who oversees us is Redeemer in Detroit. So their elders are our elders. We do not exist independently from them. And so we are a mission church then, because we rely on their elders and we're raising our external funds and all of those things. So when you particularize, then we would have our own elders that would be nominated and they would be elected by you, the congregation. And then you would have an opportunity to officially call me as your pastor. Right now, I am technically a pastor at Redeemer, sent to plant Sojourn. But now there's a time for you to call me officially to be your pastor, and then we would function with our own elders. We would call that the session. So that's particularization. And this is a very biblical thing, because when we see in the Bible that when Paul planted churches, he appointed elders. So he was the main pastor for a while. He was preaching the gospel, but then at some point he would appoint elders to share in the work of the ministry. So we are a Presbyterian church, and that word Presbyterian simply means elder. We are elder-led. We are not a church where the pastor is the CEO. We do not rule just with a single person. We do not look to be governed by a board, but elders, godly men who have been tested, who are godly, and who have shepherds and servants' hearts that the congregation can recognize. And so the reason why we're doing this is because it's very biblical. It's not healthy for Sojourn to keep going without elders. And it's not healthy for me to go without elders, because so far it's been me kind of by myself, running things by Dan or some of the other elders at Redeemer. And it is time that we have our own session. So the next question is, how will Sojourn benefit from this? Well, in many ways, we will have our own elders. We don't have to wait for decisions to be made. We don't have to be governed from elders who are not even in Sterling Heights, people who are in Detroit, not here. So we would have our own local elders, people who love the church and who have the pulse of the congregation. And with our own elders, we'll be able to shepherd the people that I need help shepherding. And we would set up elders with district visits, and they would visit their entire district over the course of a year. And this is for your benefit, even if you maybe don't recognize it at first. But the Bible has actually several passages, like in 1 Peter, or even in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. It talks about elders in 1 Timothy 3 and Ephesians 4, that we have pastors and shepherds for the building up of the flock to equip you for the good works God has called you to do. So this will help your spiritual growth as well. And we are very serious about being in this community for the long haul. Dan Millward agrees this is one of the most difficult church planting contexts he's ever seen. I just talked to Ted Powers. He was my mentor from 2018, who got me started with this whole church planning endeavor. And Ted Power says, yes, you are in a very difficult area. So we are committing to be here long term and doing whatever we can to be a healthy, faithful church that shepherds the people very well with excellence and love and a Christ likeness. And so be excited and look forward to what God can do. So then, I think those are the main questions, but I want to share with you the steps now to particularization. So we can't just have our elders instantaneously. There is a process here. And so here is what we're going to do. We first have to gather signatures. So this coming Sunday, and we'll keep it out for the next several weeks, we are going to have a petition sheet. That's where we are signing our names to ask Presbytery to allow us to particularize. There's no set number of names we need, but we definitely would need, by far, every member, or almost every member, able to sign this. And so you cannot sign this unless you are a member. So this is the first step. The next couple of weeks, we're just gathering signatures. You just sign your name that you would like Presbytery to let us particularize. And then after that, Rich and Steve, that's Rich Van Dale and Steve Pelletier, they are pursuing the call to be elder. They have gone through the training. In many ways, they're doing the work of elder already. I've given them an exam that has taken them each about 3.5 hours to complete. So we have a high bar. We take being an elder seriously, and it tests their character, their theology, their Bible knowledge, key doctrines from the Westminster Shorter Catechism that they had to memorize, and a practical section where they had to list Bible verses that would apply to different things that you would face as a shepherd. And they both did marvelously. They took the exam seriously, and they killed it. They knocked it out of the park. They did such a great job. And they are showing their character in other ways in the church as well. But Rich and Steve, though, do need to be orally examined by the Redeemer elders. So the Redeemer elders will look at the exam that I gave them. Then at the next session meeting at Redeemer, which will be October 14, Rich and Steve will be orally examined by them. And presumably they would be approved for nominations. They would approve to be nominated. That's what they're going to be doing. They'll be examined, then approved by the Redeemer elders for nomination in the office. So then after that, this will be now November 2nd, we're going to have a congregational meeting after worship. This will be led by John and probably another elder from Redeemer. So right after worship, we'll do a short congregational meeting, and there the Redeemer session is going to present officially who are the nominees. And then the nominations will be closed at that point. It just can be the two that they approve at that session meeting. And then at that same congregational meeting, they're going to start what's called a pulpit committee. So they're going to appoint people from the church. They'll see who is willing, just a small group of people. And the pulpit committee's job is to present to the congregation a pastor to call. Now, presumably that would be me, but we have to go through these steps. And it's important that you as a congregation own this, that you are going to be owning the process, and you are calling your elders, you are calling the pastor, and this is very significant. So this is why you need to go through this process. So the pulpit committee will be formed, and they are going to do the pastoral search, where they look to present a pastor to the congregation to call. So after that, then we've got December 2. We'll do another congregational meeting led by Redeemer Session, and there we will be able to vote on the elder nominees. So November 2, they're just being nominated. December 7, you will be able to vote on them to elect them. And it'll be, technically by the Book of Church Order, you just need a majority, but we are looking for a clear mandate that if it's not by far the vast majority, we would say there's problems here. So we're looking for near universal agreement on this for these elders to be elected. And then after you vote on the elders, you would vote to officially call a pastor, which would probably be me. And then the results of the vote would be announced to the congregation. Then you would have your elders elect and pastor officially called. Then I would need to respond to that call. Ordinarily, within a couple of weeks, I would accept that call, or technically I could also decline it, but I would have to respond to that call. And then all of this is going to be presented to Presbytery on January 10. They will approve it all. And then we will set a particularization service. Most likely January 25, we'll do a special evening worship service. And we'll invite people from Presbytery, and we'll have special food, and it'll be a very meaningful time of worship and fellowship. And so this is the overview of the process. And some of these dates might change a little bit, but this is the path we are on. Now, it's also good to mention that in order to sign the petition, in order to be able to vote on elders and a pastor, you need to be a member. And so if you are not a member yet, but you've been attending a while, now's the time to consider to become a member. I'll offer a class soon, but please let me know that you would be interested in membership. And in the PCA, all communicant members can vote. So that's anyone who has made a profession of faith and is taking the Lord's Supper and is a member. And so we leave it up to parents, depending on the age of their kids and their discretion for what the kids can handle. If your child can know who these candidates are, then you may give them a ballot, as long as they've been made profession of faith and are taking the Lord's Supper and are members that way. So again, we'll leave that up to the parents at their discretion for what ability their kid has to be able to vote. And so this is the direction we are going. And I am very excited about this. It is a privilege to be able to preach with you every single week and to be your pastor, to visit you and be blessed by your faith and what God is doing in your life. The church planting journey is so incredibly hard. We don't have all the bells and whistles of the bigger churches, but we have a beautiful church family. And I look every Sunday at how people love each other, and they are enjoying the fellowship of believers. And every Sunday we've got faithful preaching, we've got faithful worship, and with the sweet fellowship we have with people who love each other, God is doing amazing things at Sojourn. And so I hope you are enjoying the journey as well, even though there's been so many challenges along the way. I can't wait to see what God does in the future. We're going to put up our sails and ask the Holy Spirit to blow, knowing that He is the sovereign one. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call, give me a text, or send me an email. And hope to see you on Sunday.